Last year, I was given my first ever Pokemon game, Pokemon Shield. I love this game, though I'm pretty sure I'm playing it wrong. I worked a lot on my team. I know they are a bit too strong. I can beat other Pokemon almost always in one hit. But anyways, today we are going to take this newfound love for Pokemon and take a few Pokemon and turn them into super cute magical girls. And because it's spooky season, I'm going to turn ghost-type Pokemon into magical girls. Just like last time, feel free to name these characters in the comments. Before we begin, these are the names I chose from the last magical girl video. Frankenstein is going to be named Victoria. Another name that was suggested was Shelley, as a reference to the author of Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. So her full name is going to be Victoria Shelley. Vampire Girl is going to be named Camilla. The mummy's name is going to be Oasis. It's such a sweet name, it fits him perfectly. And finally, the werewolf will be named William. Note that these names may change once the production of my magical girl story begins, but either way, thank you so much for your suggestions. And now, without further ado, let's get to it. Our first character is going to be based off of Phanstump. Phantump is a ghost/grass type Pokemon that is, like the name implies, a ghost that is possessing a tree stump. I feel like this Pokemon's backstory is quite sad. It's believed that these Pokemons are that of children that get lost in the forest and eventually die. They usually also lead to travelers getting lost. It's not out of malicious, of course, it's just because they want friends. When turning this Pokemon into a magical guardian, I really wanted to make him into a younger guardian, somewhere around 12 years old. I wanted to use the Pokemon's original color, so his color palette is overall darker, with only some pops of lighter colors such as the yellow details, his golden glasses, and the light green of his hair and the underside of the coat. I debated about if I was going to give him literal horns or not. I thought about shaping his hair like horns, but I realized it kinda looked weird, so I just gave in and gave him horns. When it comes to this magical boy's personality, Phanstump gave me shy boy vibes, so I made him really shy around new people. He hates conflict. I still think he would be the leader of the team, but he definitely would have to have a character arc about standing up for himself. I imagine he comes from a really big family and is used to being teased by his siblings, which undermines a little bit of his self-esteem. But if he's comfortable, he can let out his more silly personality. He has a special interest in plants, he loves gardening and also loves playing around in the woods and forest. He needs to be careful though, he has a really poor sense of direction and gets lost very easily. When he's lost, which happens a lot, he just stays in place crying, waiting for someone to get him. Normally his siblings and friends find him very quickly, comfort him and take him home. Next up we have Pumpkaboo. This Pokemon is most active at night and it looks like a jack-o'-lantern. These characteristics make them really helpful to travelers during nighttime. They also help wandering spirits make their journey to the afterlife. In fact, they actually store these wandering spirits in their bodies. One of their moves is called Trick or Treat, a perfect move for this time of year if I do say so myself. When turning it into a character, I wanted them to go along with Phanstump quite nicely, since these two Pokemons are ghost/grass type Pokemons. So their color palette also has a lot of dark colors and it's mostly composed of reds, pinks and purples. I shaped their hair like the head of the Pumpkaboo, and because Pumpkaboo has a very puffy collar, I gave this kid a very long scarf that is tied in a big bow in the back. I also gave them puffy shorts to mimic Pumpkaboo's shape, and I also gave them little fangs. When it comes to their personality, I think they are very active, optimistic and mischievous, often playing pranks on others. They love Halloween and they take themselves as the best trick-or-treater around. They are very loud and a bit possessive as well. I think they would be best friends with Phanstump and they would be the ones to find Phanstump the most whenever he got lost. Pumpkaboo always tries their best to bring out the more extroverted Phanstump, and they are his biggest supporter. Unfortunately, Pumpkaboo doesn't realize that sometimes they themselves can be too overpowering. Even so, Phanstump wouldn't trade them for anyone else. Phanstump also tries to cool off Pumpkaboo, often convincing them to not cause much trouble. This doesn't always work, and sometimes even backfires, and both of them end up causing trouble. And finally, Sinestea. Sinestea is one of the smallest Pokemon around, so small in fact that it inhabits a porcelain cup of tea. This cup of tea can be authentic or not, it all depends if the Pokemon has a seal under the teacup or not. The only thing that changes if it is authentic is the items that you need to take to make the Pokemon evolve. These Pokemon are often found in houses and hotels, and if you end up mistaking this Pokemon for an actual teacup and you drink from it, it will absorb your life force. When turning it into a character, I come up with the idea of a little girl that is obsessed with tea time. I gave her very curly purple hair with a yellow streak to mimic the yellow swirls on the purple part of the Pokemon. I also gave her yellow swirls on her cheek and eyes for the same effect. I also gave her a really puffy dress, perfect for a magical girl and perfect for a tea party. I also drew one of her hands with her pinky out as a reference to tea time, and also because the Pokemon itself looks like it's doing the same thing. Her color palette is the lightest one of the group. That's because this Pokemon has very light colors, but also because it shows that she is different or doesn't quite fit in with her other teammates. When it comes to personality, I think she would be a very girly girl, very cute, very active, but also very clumsy. She loves afternoon tea. Her favorite types of tea are the ones with fruits because they are a bit sweeter than teas made solely from tea leaves. Even then, she often puts tons of sugar in her tea. Phanstump often warns her that she might get diabetes one day, but that doesn't seem to stop her. She's a little bit younger than the rest of her team, she's the only girl, she was the last one to join, and she's overall much more uptight than the rest of the team, so she often feels left out. She's still trying to find her place in the group dynamic, but right now she tries to be the voice of reason, and she tries to make her teammates take their jobs seriously, but because she's younger, Pumpkaboo teases her for it. These two particularly butt heads a lot, but they still care for each other. Since Sinistea loves tea time so much, she often invites Phanstump and Pumpkaboo to her tea parties, and when they don't have time to have a tea party, she always brings tea thermos and a few cups with her so she can share this special time of day with everyone that is important to her. And with that, we get to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, consider leaving a like and subscribe. And until next time, bye!